BET365, one of the UK's biggest gambling companies, has an agenda against the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. At times it almost feels like Bet365's social media pages are run by either Frank Warren's team or Tyson Fury himself. There are countless tweets praising Fury for his great achievements and incredible comeback, but also several tweets trying to diminish Joshua's name with false accusations and incorrect statements. This agenda has been poisoning Twitter for a while now, but a recent thread focusing on AJ's latest opponent, Jarrell Miller, has encouraged me to make this video breaking down the complete and utter nonsense in these tweets. So the first tweet on this thread refers to a poll AJ made following the Povetkin fight, where he asked his fans to vote on who they wanted his next opponent to be. Bet365 pointed out that Miller wasn't on this list, but as we all know, AJ is fighting him on June the 1st at Madison Square Garden. I'm pretty sure 90% of the boxing community already know this, but Wilder and Fury are close to agreeing terms to rematch at some point in the first half of this year, ruling them both out of the AJ fight. Dillian Whyte, however, was offered and turned down at least $6 million to fight AJ plus 50-50 in the rematch if he wins. Dillian opted to try and become a mandatory challenger instead, ruling himself out of the AJ fight. Moving on to tweet number 2, Bet365 gives further details that promotes AJ as ducking any potential bouts with Fury, Wilder and Whyte. The first point states that AJ called out a 28-stone Fury after the Klitschko fight, but is still yet to fight him. As we all know, Fury opted to have 2 easy comeback fights and then signed to fight Wilder after the AJ Wilder negotiations fell through and AJ signed to fight Povetkin. Then AJ offered Fury 60-40 to fight him on April 13th at Wembley, but Fury has opted for 60-40 to fight Wilder in a rematch instead. The second point on this tweet is in regards to the $50 million offer from Wilder to fight AJ. I can't believe people still think that this offer was turned down because AJ didn't want the fight. Just listen to these clips and make your own judgment.
You tell yourself, when they were putting the bid together to the offer to Joshua, I helped him with it in some of the matters of what they were looking for, what BT would put in, would BT be interested in buying the fight? Because remember, they were buying the rights to promote the fight, and BT were very interested in broadcasting it. It wasn't about being on Sky for them, it was about who came up with the most money. So we were
issues on the financial side of a fighter. So let's say, for instance, that 50 million we spoke about. Listen, it's a hell of a lot of money, and it was an honour to even have that number thrown at me. But then when you dissected it and what it was just kind of like a rights fee. We own you for this amount of money. But the issue that I had is I've got long-standing contracts in places with certain partnerships. So you may put that money forward and think you can own me 100%.
It is clear that to accept the offer, AJ would have had to sign his TV rights away, which he cannot legally do due to his current long-term contracts with Sky. Eddie Hearn didn't know this was the reason at the time of negotiations. He simply wanted to meet and discuss the offer with Wilder's team, but this was refused. A deadline was set and AJ had to accept an offer publicly in which he knew nothing about. For one of the biggest fights in boxing history, this is one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard. The third point on the tweet mentions Whyte being the next available opponent if Wilder and Fury are not free. As I stated before, Whyte turned down an incredible offer to fight AJ, but fighters can't be forced to fight one another. The third tweet on this thread discusses Jarrell Miller and his best opponents, implying he's not worthy of fighting for the World Heavyweight title. So let's discuss some of his recent opponents. Gerald Washington. 5 months before getting in the ring with Miller, he was in the ring with Deontay Wilder in Wilder's 38th fight. Granted, Washington shouldn't have been given the shot, but that's what happens when you ask the WBC for an easy defence. Mariusz Wach. His only losses have come to Klitschko and Povetkin, but I do agree that he was well past his best when fighting Miller. This is similar for Adamek and Duapas. Both were well past their best, but still stepping stone bouts that Miller, like many heavyweights before him, had to take before getting a world title fight. Let's not forget, the best name on Deontay Wilder's record before getting a world title shot was against Malik Scott, a fighter who virtually laid down and was paid to lose.
The lethal right hand, a crushing combination. And yet another look, the feeling out hook. Now, seriously, part of that punch landed, but it bounced off the glove, and some of the fans are actually booing when they look at the replay.
Jarrell Miller is ranked 9th in the world by the Ring magazine and 6th in the world by BoxRec. This is a decent level opponent for AJ, which will be a good test if Miller's chin holds up. Whilst Fury and Wilder are rematching, this is a great business move for AJ to take to venture into the US market and defeat yet another top 10 heavyweight. And as for BET365, please replace your social media manager because it's quite frankly embarrassing. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment letting me know your thoughts and anything you wish for me to address in future videos.